Okay, so this is something I noticed. I don't know how we ended up with a like and no views, but whatever. This is something I noticed that I want to talk to you guys about. A phenomenon where I'm hearing boxers now talking about going across to MMA. Of course, we hear about the MMA fighters wanting to box. And also, interestingly, now, I'm also seeing boxers now, again, kind of moving across to the WWE, talking about WWE. Daniel Dubois being the most recent, talking about a fight in the WWE. Or at least his name is mentioned with that. And I find this phenomenon interesting because um, we do remember that people were watching a UFC event in a boxing event with Canelo Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev at the final event, and they had this little interlude where people were watching a UFC match. And at first, I was thinking it's a bad thing, or it's poor on the sport of boxing, but actually, it reflects well with boxing. Boxing is showing that it can accommodate other sports, especially combat sports. Even more interesting to me is the fact that we see now sort of an interchange, and people, even boxers, seem to be multidisciplined. For instance, Tyson Fury, he's looking like he's preparing for an MMA bout in the UFC. Again, very interesting. You know, um, how did this all start? Well, this started many umpteen years ago, but it wasn't something. It's not. It usually was a stunt pulled by the very best, the guys who were the face of whatever they were. Like for instance, Muhammad Ali pulled a stunt. I guess there were other guys before Muhammad Ali, but I don't know about them. But Muhammad Ali pulled a stunt where he went to Japan, I think it is, and faced a wrestler. And that was way back in the day. But you didn't really hear about it very often. You know, we had names like Mike Tyson being in the WWE, Floyd Mayweather being in the WWE. You know, so we've had this happen before. Um, James Toney went into the octagon. Ricardo Mayorga went into the octagon. But it was kind of like not a very often thing that you would see. And now we're hearing boxers having intentions to go into the octagon, where, well, at least it's talk of it. I don't know if they will actually step in there. But I think what kind of, to me, really started this present sort of desire to want to just interchange and go into these different areas, to me, was when Holly Holmes, who was a career boxer, a serious boxer, changed careers and went into MMA very seriously. And she happened to beat Ronda Rousey, who was the number one UFC women's fighter in the world. In fact, she overshadowed other boxers in the MMA. She was like the biggest thing, and Holly Holmes actually beat her. Actually beat her. I thought that was beat it, beat her. I thought it was very interesting that happened, and I personally thought, wow, that was remarkable. It was something that shook the whole world, and the way how she beat her, and she was a boxer, and she came from a boxing background, even though she's trained in MMA, and she was doing kickboxing and stuff like that. And then when I think about guys like Chris Algieri, who moved, of course, from kickboxing to boxing, but anyway, I think she started the whole thing. And then Conor McGregor calling out Floyd Mayweather, because Ronda Rousey was calling out Floyd Mayweather as well, and talking about beating him. Conor McGregor saying he's done many things in multi-disciplines, and then you remember he went across to UFC after his great stints in the UK, and people thought Conor could do everything. And he actually went 9 rounds with Floyd. He went 9 rounds, 10 rounds with Floyd. Well, not full 10, but 9 or something. And I think this kind of spawned guys from the UFC calling out guys in boxing. Guys in boxing also expressing their desire to face guys in UFC. And then we saw a UFC fighter recently face a boxer, Conor McGregor. The Russian guy that was associated with Conor McGregor, faced Paulie Malignaggi in a boxing match and beat Paulie Malignaggi in a boxing match. Bare knuckle brawl, but nonetheless, he beat him. And again, that's big because now it shows that MMA fighters can go across from MMA to boxing and successfully win a boxer, and a good caliber, top tier boxer. I think all of this stuff sparked people like Carissa Shields talking about going to MMA. We saw Heather Hardy actually participate in an MMA fight, and she lost it. We've seen talk of boxers moving across and doing MMA bouts, MMA guys coming across and doing boxing bouts. So we've been hearing this interplay between the different types of combat sports, and I think this is a good thing. It's a healthy thing. It kind of keeps us Again, it's out of the box kind of stuff. You know, Tyson Fury going and doing WWE in Saudi Arabia, everybody was criticizing him. But when you think about it, now he's preparing for an MMA bout. He's showing that he's all around a great combat athlete. I think that's what Tyson Fury is kind of showing, and he's trying to prove. And I think that's an interesting thing. That's an interesting take again from a guy like that. And he's trying to stay active, of course, in between. So actually, when I think about it, it's interesting embracing all types of combat sports like that, and big money making combat sports. And that's something I've never really seen before. And now in this new breed, this new generation, you can do multiple things. You can multitask, especially in the fact that we just looked at KSI versus Logan Paul. With KSI, he's doing multiple things. Logan Paul is doing multiple things. Besides their YouTube channel, you know, KSI is involved in music. You know, KSI is involved in clothing lines and stuff like that. We see it with boxers. Boxers, they have their garments, they have their clothing lines, they have their different other products that they sell alongside with their brand. We're seeing that a lot more. And of course, branding is a very important thing in whatever arena. So we're in a different age, I think, a different time compared to the times of past. And I think our standards or values, we have to recalibrate them. Like we say, boxing as a sport has evolved, and it's going to continue to evolve like other combat sports evolve. And I think we have to get abreast with the times, especially the old timers. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the old timers like myself, we have to get abreast with the times and be able to understand the new generation of fans, the new audience that we're facing. This digital savvy, you know, social media aware sort of group of people and what they are looking at. And a lot of people now are multitasking, they're doing multiple different things. So you have to be able to understand that and appreciate that in this world. And that's why boxing superstars are not necessarily going to be people who, you know, are the run of the mill, hardworking guy, you know, tried to make it in boxing, and boxing was his soul salvation. It looks like the world might change from that to being that's where Javante Davis is tapping into. They may look at your social life, they may look at your other things that you do in your life. And if it's just boxing that you do, you're probably not going to become a superstar in boxing. Or in a combat sports, period. You're going to have to do more. You're going to have to show other dimensions to yourself. You can't just be unidimensional. It's good that you're a hell of a boxer, but you got to show more. And I think Tyson Fury is tapping into that, and he's being promoted that way. I don't know how it will work out for him, but he's staying busy as well. He needs to stay busy to stay in shape, so that's what he's doing, so he doesn't have to eat and all that, and staying healthy and all that. But I just find it very interesting. You know, I've heard Clarissa Shields express her desire to do some MMA, and I wanted to see how many of these boxers will actually attempt that, go into the octagon and actually do it after training for maybe 2-3 years, and see if what kind of level of opposition they'll face as well, and see if they can move from boxing to MMA. It's going to be very difficult because it's a different set of skills, and it's a lot of things you got to learn. You can start from scratch, and then you got to try and face, you know, world-class competition, just like all you do in boxing. But some of these people can do it. I think Regis Prograis is a guy that might probably be able to do that transition much more successfully than most others, because he has a background in combat sports. He's done, you know, jiu-jitsu and other martial arts, so he might have a better chance than, say, for instance, somebody who just has done boxing most of their career and then tries to transition. So I thought I would just share that with you guys in this 8-minute video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm about to step out and do my thing for the rest of the day, so you guys are not going to see much more videos from me. But I do promise you guys, I will do the follow-up on Clarissa Shields versus Terrence Crawford. I'll also do some breakdown videos probably tonight. It depends on how much time I have, but breakdown, I'll have the time. I always make the time, okay? Breakdown videos between Inoue versus Donier, and what else did I say? I did the Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Whatever. You guys suggested a couple fights, but I just can't remember them off the top of my head. I'll try and get those fights out to you guys as well. Don't forget that you can subscribe to my channel, share my videos, as well as you can donate to my channel via Western Union MoneyGram. I appreciate all those people who have donated to my channel via Western Union MoneyGram. Thank you so very much for that as well. I'll catch you guys later. You guys have a good one. Peace.